This is me, Arthur, and you're watching How to Draw Creepy Creatures. Now, as many of you know from watching the previous videos, I'm making November Native American month, and so in order to celebrate Thanksgiving. So I'm only going to be doing Native American creatures this month. And so for today's episode, I selected a creature from Algonquin folklore called the Stone Giant. And most of you are pretty smart, so you probably know what this is. I looked through your comments. A lot of you guys are well researched, but for those of you who don't know, it is an ogre-like figure from Native American mythology that was kind of like the Titans. They ruled the world before the time of man, or the Nephilim, kind of. They've often been compared to that. And they look like giant humanoids with skin as tough as stone so that they can't be pierced. And after their time came to an end, they ran away into the mountains, and so now they hunt humans. In fact, they were actually mentioned in Twilight. So, okay, let's get into it. And this is left over because I was doing illustrations for my book, and I got bored and started doing comics. So, let's flip this. Alright. Now, it's supposed to be fairly humanoid, but I'm going to make it kind of like a little bit semi-humanoid. Kind of like it's a little bit off, like the proportions are off. What's cool is that these legends are very common in upstate New York in particular, and the Catskills regions, and I used to camp there when I was a kid, and I had no idea that there were sightings of stone giants in that region, and that there were rumors about, like, kids disappearing because it would eat them and stuff, so I had no idea that there was a scary legend in this area that I used to love going as a kid, so kind of creepy, kind of cool. In fact, in that area of the United States, there's a specific stone giant legend called the Top Hat Man, where it's a stone giant who wears a suit and a top hat and a pair of white gloves, and his gloves are supposed to be stained with blood from all the kids that he goes out and captures. And according to legend, the early white settlers would leave out pigs for him to eat, so that hopefully he'd be satisfied and not hunt their kids. So, pretty creepy legend, and somehow giving it a suit only makes it scarier. I don't know why, but dressing it up like the Monopoly Man makes it terrifying. But, okay. I kind of decided not to give this one a suit. I kind of wanted this to look more like the early legends before white people added their own details to it. I want it to be very true to the old Native American version. Okay. Now kind of just pretend that you're drawing rock and give it like kind of like these plates and regions and cracks in its body that you would expect to see from something made of stone. Okay. In fact, every giant could have a unique pattern depending on what you want because of the chips and cracks and crevices in the stone. So just get creative. Just do whatever you think looks cool. Okay. It'll present an interesting challenge when you're shading it too. Basically, I kind of imagine this thing as kind of like a really badly made clay sculpture. Yeah. In fact, I'm gonna give it 3 fingers because it almost has like a sort of weird surreal look to it if I do that. I'm gonna make the fingers kind of squarish. Like the it does actually remind me a lot of that weird stone creature from Pokemon. Okay. In fact, what's really great about this creature is that because it's supposed to have these rough, uneven edges, you really can't get this wrong because you can play with the proportions as much as you like. So because it's supposed to look kind of almost surreal, misshapen, you can make it whatever form you want. In fact, the 2 fingers thing that I added here, well, the 3 fingers, isn't really part of the legend. It's just how I imagine it. It's just my own personal interpretation, so feel free to play with that. Give it whatever kind of hands you want. Get creative there. Let's work on the chest area a little bit. Now these all look like a bunch of random lines now, but once you add the shading a little bit, it will come to life, kind of. Let's make this shoulder just a little bit bigger. Let's emphasize the ribs a little bit here. Oops. Okay. Alright. I almost wanted to have, like, no neck. In fact, I think I made the head a little bit too big. You don't want it to look cute, so... In fact, I think it'd be cool if its head kind of looked like the top of a mountain, like it could camouflage as one. kind of jagged, uneven teeth, kind of like stalactites in a cave. That's how I imagine its teeth. Kind of gonna give it these small beady eyes. Just like 2 pits for nostrils. In fact, kind of just to give an idea of scale, I think I'm gonna have like trees growing on it. Just like, kind of like every once in a while it just stays still, like maybe it sleeps for centuries and it wakes up hungry, but it's already got all this foliage growing on it. Yeah, I'm gonna do pine trees. Okay. Yeah, I kind of imagine that its mouth is like the entrance to a cave. I want to do heavy shading there. Okay. Alright. Now, just making sure that you can see what we've done so far. Now, let's shade the body. Remember, guys, slow, steady circles. Remember to shade these groove areas whenever it's appropriate, so that you really get an idea of depth and proportion. Alright, another good thing to add to show scale would be to just add a few birds over his head. That way you see that this thing is massive, like huge. Maybe flying around him. Alright, sign off with your artist mark. And you have just drawn a stone giant. Okay, like, share, and subscribe. And remember, November is all Native American month. However, if you have any creatures that you would like me to draw, Native American or not, just put it in the comments and I will be sure to give you an answer. Also, anybody who finished a lesson on this show and would like to show off your artwork, you can send it to me at arthurwrotethis@gmail.com, and as long as you give me your written permission in the email, I will show it off on the show with your name so that everybody knows that you did it. Alright, happy early Thanksgiving, you guys, and goodbye.